about the delay. My fault entirely. I sent Stephen the wrong link. What a dick. Never mind.
Yeah.
We're here. We're queer.
We are.
We don't want any beer.
Is this a meat militia thingy?
If you like, why not? Master Chief, you're in charge of making sure the meat militia stays in line. There's Master Chief, first in the house, of course. Excellent. Yes, and that is terrible, terrible camouflage, Master Chief. You have been spotted at the camouflage training.
Oh, the feral grandma. I like her.
We love her. She's good.
Yeah, she's very good.
Yes. Right. Okay. Anyway, so random, really. We just thought we'd do a live stream and catch up with current events. In breaking news, Stephen, headlines. Here are some headlines. The American College of Cardiology no longer recommending diet and exercise as a first line against obesity. Now the first line is Ozempic.
Is it really?
That's not a joke.
No,
that's what they've said.
It is a joke, but yes.
Yes, but they're serious though. That's the point.
I know.
I know. Still, very credible organisation is the American College of Cardiology, aren't they? Always have been. Very credible.
I don't know if
just
you've
about
realised
as credible. Go on.
That since they've now got a drug that they think does promote weight loss, all that body positivity stuff's all shut down. You know, that healthy exercise. Where's that all gone? Where's that gone?
I don't know. Did you hear that? We have got fucking rodents. You would not believe the rodents we've got in this house.
I cannot hear them.
You can't.
You're just showing off your good hearing, aren't you?
Wow, that's bloody loud. They're running around in the ceiling space up there. I've got rat traps up there, and they've got peanut butter on them. But anyway, perhaps you should all just send me all your money, and then I can afford more rat traps. Or something. It's probably my software that's filtering out the noise, Stephen. It's probably nothing to do with it. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jonathan. We love you. Thank you for the $2 squids. Yeah.
I am comfy. He says I'm comfy sitting down. But except for my eye at football, I got poked in the eye last night, and that's still hurting a little bit.
Goodness gracious. Football's supposed to be a gentleman's game, isn't it?
Not the way we play it.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Yes, I would have been sitting comfortably myself, Stephen, but I've just gone arse over kite. We had to go and just before we came online, I had to go and manhandle a goat back from across the road, across from the neighbour's farm over there. Oh my God! And we've not got much above freezing here all day. And there's just 2 planks of wood that go across the creek that I had to cross to go and get this goat. And of course, I put my left foot down on this thing, and it's sort of sloping a little bit. And I nearly went in the creek. That would have been very, very cold indeed. But anyway, so sore bottoms.
So, well, yes.
Incredible. Yeah, they sound like possums. They're big bastards, Dana, whichever it is. Yeah, big rats. I caught one the other day, but there's still more.
Yeah, I like the surname, Dana Trout.
Yes.
That's good. Very, very sort of carnivore related. I've got a client called Cat Bacon, which is good. I did an interview with Bill Lamb the other day, so, you know.
Good.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got to say, I've been enjoying your content, but aren't we getting fed up with idiots?
Oh, my God. Tell me all about it.
It's getting worse. I think it is getting worse. I mean, if you've got a theory, this is my advice. If you've got a theory, present it as a theory. If you've got a few pages from ChatGPT, tell us that at the beginning so we can listen with the knowledge that what you're actually doing, and if you feel it's science, and actually present some science, some experimental science. But that's what I'm finding difficult at the moment. I mean, that was partly why I wanted to get on, because I just wanted to say thanks for doing the hard work, because I don't have to, because every single idiot out there is just It's ridiculous.
All you do is just eat fucking sugar, Stephen. That's all you do.
Sugar diet, insulin suppression. That the fairy tale of that. Which,
and don't forget, if you eat meat, it will dissolve your bones.
Yes, which again, there's no proof of that either. So, quite the I was speaking to Richard Smith the other day about this. What I've found, 10 years of doing this, 6 years as carnivore, I have never had anybody say to me, I've become osteopenic. Never. But I've heard the reverse of that. I've had many people say, I'm no longer I have osteopenia. That's gone. My bone mineral density has gone up. So, clinical experience has gone out the window. Absolutely out the window. I'm sorry, I'm reading all the things that are coming up.
Yeah, good. So am I. Yeah.
It's beyond belief, and that's the thing. That's partly why I got into the bloods, is because when I started them, what was being presented in front of me didn't match the doctor's comments. Which is exactly what people like Robert Cybers are doing. I think you did a video about one of the things he did, where he said, "Oh, this fine specimen, this wonderful looking guy, this lean, muscular guy. Here's what's wrong with all his numbers." It's like, well, hang on, whoa, what's wrong with him? What is wrong with him? And then he got really smug at the end because put him back on some carbohydrates, changed the numbers, not realizing what he was doing was making the numbers fit a carbohydrate normative value, rather than looking at the person and thinking, oh, maybe these numbers fit the person. It's, oh, wow. Talk about banging
and
again.
Also, while we're at it, I always take advice on how to be healthy from an obese physician.
Oh, no, that's deliberate, apparently.
Well, and he said that.
I know.
He did it for lying. He sat there and said it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Like that made him more credible.
I know. It's absolutely crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Dengue fever. Bloody hell.
Is that a local big problem?
In the Philippines. There we go. I just had dengue fever in the Philippines. What's the best way to increase the platelet levels, Stephen?
What is the best? Well, firstly, tell me about this fever then. Is this something that is you come up against because in your part of the world?
Me?
Is it common?
No, not here. In the Philippines,
right.
It is.
Yeah, well,
I'm nowhere near the Philippines.
Well, you're looking at platelets. They're dependent on B12. So if you're eating a lot of, meat, you should have plenty of B12. And eggs will help you with the folate because you need B9 and iron. Heme iron is really good. And K, which we get. So, again, from eggs, that's what I would look at. Now, this is the bit where maybe you're going to get cross with me. A tiny bit of liver, maybe, just to bump up your vitamin A, just a little bit, and bump up the iron a little bit. But if you got that fever, it might be, if you really want to get into the weeds, it might be that you're eating all of those things, but you're not actually absorbing them. So you could get a different test, an MMA, methylmalonic acid test, to see if your absorption of B12 is okay. Because it might not be all those things that are lacking. It might be that you're eating those, but you're not absorbing them, in which case it's probably a GI issue where you're just talking about a bit of patience, really. Right. I don't know if that's helpful.
There we go. Awesome. Rob pretends to have an assistant manage his clients, but it's really him. Okay, if you say so. Good idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose you've got to fake it till you make it. But I mean,
that's it.
His whole insulin suppression thing is absolutely ludicrous. And one of the things I've been doing to people that are long-term carnivore, and I did it to myself, I can show you the bloods if you want, is to say, right, we'll go and eat a Mars bar, go and eat a chocolate brownie. If your insulin suppressed, allegedly what's going to happen is you're going to really struggle. And that isn't what happens. You see your blood glucose go up, obviously, because you're sticking carbohydrates down your neck, and then you see it come back down because your insulin decides to work. Insulin is being produced at the right level, the appropriate level for the dietary intake of carbohydrates. And he talks about GLP-1 being compromised. Well, protein increases GLP-1 and other things as well. So when you eat, mass, you also get your stretch receptors working. So there's other ways as well. And to be honest, the whole thing, don't forget that he's only talking about GLUT4 transporter. So the only one that's insulin dependent. There's 13 that are insulin independent. So what are they going to do then? They're just going to stop as well. He's very frustrating. And when you look at overall glucose entry into the cell, the GLUT4 is only 20% of what we're talking about. I know the muscles are a big sink for glycogen, so I understand that bit. There's 13 other transporters that will be using the concentration of glucose in your bloodstream or diffusion to get into he makes me very cross. I can't even be lucid because it makes no sense when you know physiology. It literally makes zero sense what you're saying. Frustrating.
Unless you say everything 3 or 4 times in quick succession. If you
and say things like, in fact, and actually.
Yes. Yes. And then repeat yourself 3 or 4 times. That makes it true when it isn't.
Yeah. I think he's an idiot. I think he's an idiot.
Yeah. I'm on board with Saivez not being the sort of bloke that I would take advice from on any aspect of health at all, personally.
Yes. Richard's got a great view, actually, because we do our lives on a Sunday. So just getting that plug in. And he just says, I can't be bothered. I haven't got time. It's ridiculous. You do you. I think my problem is when it impacts people I'm dealing with and they're saying, and they're very tongue-in-cheek. Oh, I've just seen that video. Do I need to eat a bit of cake? And it's like, no. But there's all that. There's a little bit of doubt in some of their minds when it's, it sounds very compelling. And I'm thinking, what, really? When he compares us to lions, wolves and snakes and then hummingbirds, and he puts lions, wolves and snakes in the same category. 2 are warm-blooded, 1 is cold-blooded. 2 have limbs, 1 doesn't have limbs, completely different. And then he literally gets into the sharp, pointy teeth type territory, which is, ridiculous. Anyway, awesome. We've got brains. It's, right. Let's move on, shall we?
Yes, shall we? Let's move on to some more breaking news, just because why not? Every newborn baby in the UK to be tested for their DNA.
That's awful.
My brother is watching, apparently.
Yeah, I've got an anecdote about this because
an anecdote.
Yeah. In the Second World War, when you look at which countries persecuted the Jews the most, the ones, as a percentage, was the Netherlands, because they'd done a consensus a few years earlier before the war, and they asked, what was your religion? So there was this data, which might have seemed harmless at the time. I'm sorry, I have to get all serious. It's 7 o'clock in the morning here, but these are the facts.
Yep.
When the Nazis took over, they knew where they all lived. I mean, that's why they have the highest percentage in Europe of catastrophe, really. So don't like to talk about that too much, but that shows that data can be misused, and it's awful because what we believe about genetics, of course, is incorrect. I am one of those people that did do 23andMe, so I'm part of the problem in a way because I fell for it all. But when I got my report, apparently I would do badly on red meat, and I have I'm 7 times more likely to be bald. Here I am at 61. I don't think my hair is of peace. I think that's real hair. I definitely do well on red meat. So all the stuff about genetics, if you look at talking about the body positivity, people saying, losing weight, it's difficult, your genetics that mean that you can't lose weight. It's a disease. It's a genetic disease. And yet people that I have coached that have lost like 100 pounds, I don't remember extracting all their DNA and giving them different genetics. I'm sure I just changed the way they were eating. I'm sure that's all I did. But there you go. Yeah. So we're doing a news thing, are we?
Oh, I just thought we'd throw a few things in just to keep the vibe of the show rolling, really. Yeah.
Well,
We can do questions as well. There's a question. Yeah.
Oh,
in Australia,
G'day.
they are very depleted soil. G'day, mate. In Australia, it's big and it's flat and it's hot and it's fucking red and there's no minerals.
I spoke to an Australian the other day and I said, I've been to a shop and everything was flat packed and it was like a big maze. He went, does it look like IKEA?
Sounds like IKEA. Yeah. Does it look like IKEA? I get it. Fuck, I'm slow. Oh, it literally took me a few minutes there, Stephen. Oh, dear.
I know.
All right. Well, anyway, what should we do?
Early.
Should we add some minerals as a precaution? Let's speak to the Australians in their own language. Good fucking luck.
You can test. Oh, this bothers me as well. You can test if you're iodine deficient with an iodine clearance test. I mean, you can do that. Some people rub it on their arm, and if it disappears, the brown color disappears, you're probably deficient. Really basic. And the iodine clearance test sounds really posh, but it isn't. All they do is they give you a certain amount of iodine, and then they look at your urine over the 24 hours, and if it's all been sucked in and none's in your urine, you're probably deficient. I think the easiest thing, actually, and I've had this as a real one, somebody texted me at the test and said, I'm definitely deficient. I said, oh, wow, that test took, how did you do it so quickly? She said, well, I've had the iodine tablet and I feel amazing. So she probably was a bit deficient. But in the main, that's what I would do. I would actually test. I wouldn't guess.
Righto.
Is that any good?
Yeah, that'll do me. That'll do me.
Feel free to disagree.
Whatever. No, this whole thing with the minerals are depleted in the soil thing. They say that in New Zealand too, and I don't buy it. I don't know. I don't know if it's it's definitely. I don't think it's definitely necessary to like shotgun. Throw shit at a wall, see what sticks. I agree with Stephen. I think if you suspect that there is a deficiency of some kind, you should suspect that on the basis that you've got symptomology of some kind. Otherwise, what the hell are you worried about? And then test for that. And if you need some of it, then do your due diligence and find out what the best form of that stuff is to take and get into it. But otherwise, eat meat, rest and repeat. Really?
Yeah.
I reckon.
I suppose. I will flip it over a little bit because some soil is particularly rich. I mean, you could look at it the other way round. For instance, the Amalfi Coast, because of the volcanic base of a lot of the soil. And this is not an exaggeration. The lemons there are this big. They are literally bigger than your head. And that, I've always been interested in soil and stuff like that because I'm sado. And I said, well, because I originally thought, well, what are you adding to the soil? What manure, what fertilizer, what chemicals? And they went, none. This is how they grow. So that was pretty interesting. But that's because of a particular, ecology over millions of years. But
volcanic soil, very very rich. Good.
Anyway, right.
All right, lovely. Jonathan says, could you two compare and contrast your views on protein and gluconeogenesis? You have differing views of its potential gradient upon higher versus lower protein intake, ? I don't know that we do. Do we have different views?
I don't think so.
I don't think different views aren't allowed on my channel. That's hate speech. We won't have that. I can give us your views and I'll tell you if you're wrong.
Well, we always produce glucose via gluconeogenesis. Even if you eat carbohydrates, that's the first thing. It doesn't stop. There's not like 2 a.m. in the morning, let's just stop. Protein, when you consume protein, it gets broken down into amino acids, and some people believe that it immediately becomes part of your blood glucose, which isn't the case. So when they've doubly labeled amino acids, They used chickens, and it's been repeated. And they look at the percentage of those amino acids that are labelled that eventually end up in your bloodstream. It's between 2 to 8%. It's not a lot. And the 8% was a particular outlier, but I use all the data that's there. In the main, it was about 2 to 3%. And this view is held by not many people, the next bit. But when you actually look at blood glucose levels when you eat protein, for it to get into the bloodstream probably would take about 6 hours. And when people say, oh, I ate some protein, my blood glucose goes through the roof or went up, there was a small bump, however you word it, what actually happens is it goes slightly lower and then glucagon increases. Don't forget, I mean, this is why I wrote this book, because this is what I did for a decade and really got into the weeds. Glucagon goes up and gives you more energy to digest the protein. I hate that expression, but people sort of get what I'm saying. Because it's more labor intensive for the body, glucagon stops you being hypoglycemic because you are going to expend more energy to digest it. So it's just a sort of mechanism to make sure that you have the right level of blood glucose, as always, which is what the body does brilliantly, because you've just eaten a big bolus of protein. So I don't think that's anything different to you, is it?
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, I've always said that really, if you're going to turn gluconeogenesis into a supply-driven thing rather than a demand-driven thing, you've really got to pack in the protein for that, I reckon. But other than that,
well, it's a strange phrase, demand-driven, because isn't everything the demand of the environment, of what the body is working out what it needs all the time, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, we were talking about genes just before, and they're some of the most demand-driven things in the universe. They are reacting to the environment in which you place them all the time and changing what they're doing. And people think your genes are some written instructions that are inviolate and they just do one thing and that's all they do. No. Each gene just encodes for one protein, absolutely, but the rate at which it makes it is variable.
Yes,
it's reactive. So anyway, whatever. Okay.
I suppose people are seeing demand driven as in, I'm going to lift a big heavy weight, so I need more, or I'm going to go to sleep and I need less, which is basically yes.
Yeah.
But also I'm going to need to stay this temperature, and I'm going to need to stay hydrated. Everything,
absolutely.
Literally.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, while I think about it, and demand-driven things, and that one thing that in your body that's not demand-driven is your release of adult stem cells.
Absolutely.
That slows down every year. Every single year that slows down, boys and girls. Isn't that terrible? Absolutely terrible. Tell you what you need to do about it, though. You need to get yourself some Cerule Stem Enhance Ultra. While you're there, you might as well get some Cyactive, the anti-inflammatory, and some Plasma Flow, the blood flow optimizer. Best place to go for that is onlinecoach.cerule.com. It's winding its way across the bottom of the screen as we speak. So get across there and get yourself some Cerule, the sponsor's product. Fabulous stuff. It does exactly what it says it does on the bottle. And also while you're there, you'll probably notice that Ted is touting for some attention over there on the old X platform. Poor old Ted. He feels a bit left out. Fair warning, though, he's a bit gobby, and he does like to refer to next Tuesday quite a bit, to be fair.
I think you should have a competition on X and get people to video themselves doing an impression of Ted.
All right. Good.
Yeah. Coming on and going, bollocks! Are you retarded?
Stuff like that. Excellent. Yes. All right, Miss Patricia, very good to see all of you as well. I hope you're all doing well today, all of you. That was a good movie, wasn't it, that one?
What was a good movie?
The one that Miss Patricia comes from. What was it called now? I forget what it was called. It was about this bloke that had a lot of different characters, one of whom was called Miss Patricia. And and it was a criminally insane person that was a murderer and all this kind of stuff. And he was played by the guy that played Mr. Tumnus.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Anyway, glad you're all here, Miss Patricia, all of you. Good to see you. All right.
Jonathan's got a lot of questions this morning. It's
nice to see Jonathan's full of it today, isn't he? Good.
Yeah. He's full of it every day, but that's another matter.
Full of beans. Excellent. That's what we want. Oh, here's a good question. How bad is the sugar diet then? How much damage could it cost? Well, You have at it, Stephen. Tell us all about it.
Right. Okay. How bad is the sugar diet? Well, it depends how you define bad and how much damage could it cost. Depends how you define damage and cost. Right. Let's say you did it for 3 days and you lost some weight. Right. Then what happens after that? What happens? And what is that level of glycation worth it? Because the thing is, all you've done is a little bit of a biohack, and you might have lost some weight. You could do it healthier. So Sean Baker did the sugar diet without the sugar, where all it was is the protein restriction.
That's exactly it. The thing is, they say it works because of FGF21 upregulation, which is correct. That's how the thing is supposed to work. However, the way you upregulate the expression of the FGF21 protein is by not consuming protein. It's nothing to do with the fucking sugar.
Yeah, nothing to do with it. Protein restricted diet. And I suppose you've got a lot more glycation. Yes, it is only a few days, but they're not pushing only a few days. They are pushing maybe 100 days. Well, that's a lot of glycation. So
it is.
And also, when you get into the F21, and what's it doing to your electron transport chain? It's making complex 1, 3, and 4 more productive, but the ATP synthase not. It's making it less efficient. I am. It's way above my pay grade, but I don't think that's good to do even over 3 days. Personally, I don't think I can long term. But it's like all of these sort of cabbage diets or rice diet. Where was it Kempner did that with the rice diet and saw people losing weight, hitting them with tennis shoes and stuff. It's not the way to do it. The way to do it is change your relationship with food and eat the right food. So how bad is the sugar diet? I think really bad, because it's making people do short-term fixes. I know you do the joke, Bart, about cutting your legs off, but that's a really correct analogy, because that's what you're looking at, weight. You're looking at body weight, which is wrong in the first place. It should be body fat. And secondly, it's damaging it, because you're not actually changing how you. Sorry, I'm getting on my horse here.
No, please. That's what we hear.
You're not changing how you look at food and what you're eating. So it's ridiculous. It's literally like me saying, right, I'm gonna fast for 3 days every week, because that's the best way to do my body composition, and for the rest of the time I'll eat whatever I like. Well, that literally is a recipe for disaster, because you're fasting for 3 days and you're eating junk for 4. Yes, my body composition might be good, and I'm getting to a good point in a second. And that's exactly what I did with healthy food. I outran a bad diet. I remember getting my CAC score and the radiologist saying to me, "Why are you here? You look great." And I went, "Yeah, but I'm not." I know internally I've eaten a high carb diet, and it was healthy foods, oatmeal, fruit, veg, and I had a CAC score of 639. And the reason I think this is worth mentioning is because when I went to the Steak and Butter Gang for a bit, and I was working with Raymond, we both had really similar CAC scores, but we had completely different journeys to it. His was junk food, and mine was food guidelines, healthy food. And we ended up at the same place because of the glycation damage, way too much carbohydrate. Yes, fruit, veg, oatmeal, granary artisan bread, all that crap that you fall for, it breaks down to glucose. And it just frightening, just absolutely frightening. So these the sugar diets, just awful.
Please don't do the sugar diet, guys. Anyone that's even remotely considering the sugar diet, I know I do joke around about it a bit and take the piss out of it and stuff, but seriously, I think Stephen's covered it really well. This is not something you want to touch with a barge pole.
I just want to pick up what Jonathan said there. I said, Jonathan, Stephen, what am I full of? Full of questions. That's all I meant. I love it.
Full of beans, full of questions, full of vim and gusto and excitement for the what is it? For the blag. Tooled up for the blag. That's the word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all. It's not a judgment. So Miss Patricia's triglycerides went from 7.2 to 0.7 after just 3 months carnivore. That's awesome. And what about the rest of you?
Wow, that is
what
amazing.
happened for the rest of you guys?
Yeah.
Your other 5 personalities, did they have the same result, or was there something different for them?
Yeah. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it, to have a full panel? But I mean, that's phenomenally well done. I think that's really good.
It is. Yes. Cyril rules. Cyril's rules. The Cyril's rules. The rules of Cyril.
I did a cholesterol test yesterday because I think it's all crap, and I'll get the results in a couple of days. But I think it's so pointless. I'd like to do an experiment. I haven't got the money to do this, where I did the cholesterol test maybe over an hour, 5 times, and looked at the variation in numbers over 5 times, because it would prove the snapshot of a blood test is not adequate. It's just not. It's not enough. Anyway, right. Carry on.
Absolutely. No, I agree. The whole thing with these tests is that they're not repeatable and reliable, even from hour to hour, let alone day to day, let alone you take one and that's your answer. It's just nuts. It's ridiculous. It's completely anti-science, basically. There it is. All right. Oh, God, what's Pim been up to now? Pim used to, and probably still does, train people to overcome their sugar addictions. Not so much. She's busy being a farmer. Although she does hang on to 1 or 2 clients that she likes.
Well, that's why she dumped me.
Well, that's she shows her absolute bestest favourites. So if you're not in the I think she's still got 2 or 3 clients. So if you're not in the top 2 or 3, I guess that's not such a bad thing. There you go. The hedonistic hit that sugar gives you is like a drug, yes, and that's exactly what her deal is. She's helping people deal with that, or used to. Now she's looking after duckies and chickens and goats. Well, mostly she's looking after the goats. I had to go and get one, as I said before. Drag it by the collar from across the road. Bloody hell. Anyway. Damn it, Cyril works. Yeah, I know. It's a pain in the ass when something like that happens, isn't it? Have to give up stuff to avoid it. Well, you don't, Ben. Actually, no, you don't. No, you can get your Cyril for free. Absolutely free, I tells you. I want every single one of you. This is not a joke. I'm not pissing around here. I want every single one of you on Cyril every single fucking day, boys and girls. Not because I get paid for that, but because, each individual 2 and 6 that I get from each bottle of product that moves through the organisation is not going to change my life, but it may well change yours. I want every single one of you on Cyril. However, I don't want a single one of you paying for it. Now, if you want yours for free, I tells you, free, here's what you do. Join us as an IBO. Don't join as a customer. We love customers, and if you want to be a customer, that's great. We'll accept you. We'll love you. We'll take the commission. It's awesome. But if you want free, don't be a customer, because you can't get it for free as a customer. Join us as an IBO. You're a member of the organisation then as what's called an independent business owner, with the same rights and responsibilities that I've got, Stephen's got, and everybody else that's in the business has got. Then what you do is you talk to people about Cyril. People say to me, what's the secret of Cyril? Here it is. It's not a secret. Tell people about Cyril. And they'll go, well, shit, I want it. And then you go, well, here's where you get it from. And you give them your link. Stephen's link is currently wending its way across the bottom of the screen right now. It's onlinecoach.cyril.com. Isn't that easy? You go there and instead of being a customer, you join Stephen as an IBO. Then you tell people about Cyril, that it exists and what it is. And they go, I want it. And you give them your link and they go and buy it if they don't want to be an IBO. When you've got 3 customers, yours is free. 3. ABC, auntie, brother, cousin. Probably not auntie, brother, and cousin, because they know you. But 3 people. That's all you need. It's not even hard. A dog with a note in its mouth can do that. So don't tell me you can't afford it. I won't have that. I'll send Ted around if you say that. And he will bring that bucket of soapy frogs and that wetsuit with the bottom cut out. He may even bring the rampant wildebeest if he's cross. You don't want that. A late night visit from Ted. If you wake up late at night and this is what you see looking down at you, you're in trouble, pal, because Ted's here. All right? That's how you avoid it. Or if you like Ted to come and visit, well, you can come and stay here. Actually, you can come and work at Pimbatia for a while if you want. Do some fencing for us or pull some weeds or some bloody thing. We'll feed you. We'll look after you. and Ted will be there. You get to meet Ted. Send me an email. And if you can get past Ted, we might consider having you. There's quite a few people are talking about coming over from the UK, actually, to come and visit us at various different times. That's going to be awesome. We might have a UK retreat in Pimbatia.
Woohoo!
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
It would be great, actually, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dana, that's how we pronounce it. Dana is having good results with Cerule as well, healing old injuries. Yeah, that's, among other things, that's one of the things that is a possibility, because adult stem cells can and do differentiate into just about anything in your body. The only things they can't become is sperm and eggs, and who wants any of those? I don't. Oh, here's one. This is topical. Methylene blue. What's your thoughts, Stephen? Methylene blue.
Well, I'm a little bit confused about it because I don't buy into it really.
Right.
But some people I respect seem to think it is good. It's a synthetic compound, which immediately makes me think, textile industry dye, which seems to have some sort of, benefits when it comes to your hemoglobin, basically.
Yeah, among other things. Yeah, apparently.
Yes.
Potentially.
All right. I'm not a fan, to be honest.
Okay, good. No, good. I'm happy with that. My first exposure to methylene blue was many, many years ago. I first heard about it because it is widely used in the aquarium industry, and I've had an almost lifelong interest in the aquarium keeping hobby. And I've used it often for treating sick animals and whatever else, sick fish, aquatic animals, snails and other things, invertebrates of various kinds. So it's quite good for that. It is a pigment that was, as Stephen said, originally invented as a textile dye, but it was found to have therapeutic effects and antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-parasitic effects on aquatic animals fairly early on. What it does is it inveigles itself into your electron transport chain, among other things. The hemoglobin thing is the thing it does as well, but the thing that I'm talking about now is the electron transport chain effect, where it gets in between several of those complexes in that electron transport chain. And what it does is it makes it easier for electrons to go down the chain, by meaning they can bypass one of those or two of those complexes. So it can get mitochondria running that are having trouble running for some reason. For example, it can be used to treat carbon monoxide poisoning. The downside is that the net return, the net amount of ATP being produced is thus reduced. So a lot of people are saying it's great for mitochondrial function. It's great for mitochondrial function if your mitochondria are blockaded for some reason. Yes. If your mitochondria are already working fine, then actually all you're doing is reducing the level of ATP that you can produce. That being said, and this is why I'm saying it's topical, somebody sent me a video that was done by not really a Dr. Paul Salad I don't know recently.
Right.
Who is an imbecile? Paul is an imbecile. And I'm not saying anything different from that. He is an imbecile. Okay. But I have to give him credit. He got that absolutely right in his video about methylene blue. It's the first thing I've ever seen Paul Saladino do since he stopped being 100% carnivore that was right. Well done, Paul. Well done, son. You got something right. So, yes.
Does he talk about the methylglobulin being converted back to hemoglobin then? Is that what he...
No, he was talking about the exact thing I was just talking about with the electron transport chain.
All right, okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, methylene blue has a number of effects on the body, including it makes your urine go green.
Yes.
Or if you have enough of it, blue.
And
it makes your tongue go blue, and it makes the white material in your brain go blue for a while. Well, whoop-de-doo. Anyway, there you go.
Yes.
I thought I'd throw that out there. Paul Saladino got something right.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yes.
Wonders never cease, do they?
Well, I suppose, this is it, exactly what you said. In a clinical setting where you're having trouble with your oxygen supply for whatever reason, it's a biohack. It's a thing you can administer or infuse and see a difference.
Absolutely. The other thing I should say about Paul Saladino is it's an old hackneyed adage, but I'll use it. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Twice a day, yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. Jonathan had good results in terms of hair growth on his cerebral adventure. Well, that's nice.
Cool.
I didn't. It didn't help my hair growth at all. It did, however, save my eyesight, which I think is probably quite a bit more important than hair. I feel like it is.
Is hair important? Is it important?
Well, it depends where and why, I suppose.
Yes.
I guess. All right. Dr. Sarah Pugh is one who has used methylene blue, and she's not an idiot. So she's a good friend of mine. She's one of those who is likely to be a visitor here in Pimbatia in years to come. She's already visited before we lived at this property. She's already visited our home in New Zealand at our previous address. That was good. Yeah, that was awesome to see her. She's
a fan of it, is she? Methylene blue.
She uses it intermittently for particular purpose. She doesn't take it every day as this is a thing I do thing. Okay. And last time I spoke to her about it, which was last night actually, she said no, she's not using it at all at the moment because she doesn't need to. So there we go. Yeah. She's also a card-carrying Kiwi as well as being a British person, She's got a New Zealand passport. Mm-hmm. Yes. So she can come to Pimbatia because the New Zealand passport is recognised here in the independent sovereign nation of Pimbatia, given that New Zealand surrounds Pimbatia at her borders. So there it is. Dr. Sarah Myhill posted some kind of warning about methylene blue today. Well, did she? Okie dokie. It's probably the thing I was talking about with the electron transport thing, the ATP compromise thing. Don't know.
Why is it picking up so much attention at the moment then? Is it because of...
well, it's topical. The algorithm is pushing it, just like the sugar diet. Only, methylene blue is a lot less stupid, I think, than the sugar diet, but whatever.
Yes. Well, most things are, aren't they?
Yes. Most things are pretty stupid. Dave is not one of those things that's pretty stupid. Dave's a smart cookie. DC rebuilding, that is.
Keep dropping hints to Dave that I'd like to have him on my channel and interview him, but
Dave, stop fucking around. Stephen wants to have you and interview you about your story and your journey because Stephen's people need to know about it. Really?
Yeah, and he's a good guy, and it's an interesting story. And the more stories that we share, the better.
Yeah, and DC's story is quite the story. Bloody hell. Whew, quite the story. Anyway, I'll leave that for you guys in the background. Get your shit together. Don't make me send Ted, Dave. I will. I'll send Ted. Then you'll be sorry, won't you? Okie dokie. So, where are we up to? I'm at the bottom of the chat. No, I'm at the bottom of the chat. Are there any questions I've missed? Probably not. You're all just chuckling along with the vibe of the show. Tell you what, let's have another story. Another breaking news story. Here we go. Stem cell-derived, fully differentiated islets of Langerhans for type 1 diabetics. They've done it, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, well, at least there's a paper here that suggests that it can be done, and that I haven't read the thing. I've just read the headline. But it's by Trevor W. Reichman, MD, James F. Markman, MD, PhD, and others. The DOI is 10.1056/NEJMOA 2506549, if you want to look it up. There it is. So people can go and read that. It says, somebody's commented under it. I haven't read it myself, but somebody's commented under it saying, promising, but what's to stop the autoimmune disease from destroying them again? Interesting. Good question.
Yeah.
Don't know. I'll have to read that later.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any last questions from you, Stephen, or from the floor?
Well, didn't somebody ask about high triglycerides or something?
Did
Was
they?
there some talking about that?
Let me see if I can find it.
Well,
here's one about poor H2S clearance genetics. Should they consume less total protein?
Well, that's hydrogen sulfide, isn't it?
Yeah.
In what respect? Are they saying they've got a low concentration or high? I mean, high is problematic, isn't it? But I don't know.
Yeah, but there are only a few of the amino acids that contain any significant amount of sulfate producing thing, not sulfuric acid. Bart K is wrong. Acid, dissolve your bones. Bart K is wrong. No, right. Still wrong, James. Sorry, it's still sulfate and not sulfuric acid, and it still doesn't dissolve your bones, son. So no, I don't think you need to eat less protein because you have poor clearance of H2S. You probably want to talk to your renal specialist about what you should be doing, and they'll probably tell you to eat less protein, but I don't think you should, personally. I think it's probably a better way of dealing with that. Don't know. It's not really my speciality, kidney function. But I do know that you don't produce sulfuric acid and it doesn't dissolve your bones. How much I do know. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the renal excretion, you do need someone to look in and give you a full panel who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. That's not James no nuts, by the way. Don't ask him. Yeah.
It's such a nuanced question. They've probably been told they have a problem with it, I would imagine, unless they've self-diagnosed.
Yeah. How many days of fasting have the most benefits? Have you done much fasting, Stephen? I don't think I've ever asked you that. Or if I have, I forgot the answer.
Yeah, I was a fasting coach when I was at MeatRx, and I think it has its place, depending on your situation. If you are one of those people that wants a kickstart in fat loss and you're an abstainer, not a moderator, and all that stuff, then obviously it's a good thing because you just say, right, today I'm going to fast. Or you could do a dry fast once you've got experience of wet fasting, I suppose. But what's the question? How many days of fasting have been the most benefits? Right. So I think if you can do a 24-hour fast, that's pretty good. So you've earned your stripes. To me, I think the most surprising length for people is 3 days. And the only reason I say that, I'm not talking about metabolic differences. I'm talking about how you understand your hunger signals, because by day 3, you have much less hunger. And it's really surprising for most people. And I think you start to tap into, wow, I can actually eat for 3 days and I can start forgetting about food. Obviously, then you get driven. Then you get driven to eat because your actual hunger does take over. Obviously, if you are, you've got to have the right body composition. I'm being polite here. You have to have an excess of body fat to fast. There are some people that fast that don't need to fast, and that's because they're looking at their body in the wrong way. They think that they need to lose body fat, and possibly they don't. So I think you get some reality in your world. And intermittent fasting, I think, works for many people. When I say works, it seems to give them a sweet spot where maybe they're eating for 6 hours and fasting for 18. In fact, I don't like the term fasting, actually, because you don't go to your garage and fill your car up with petrol, gas, and say, right, okay, I'm now going to drive around in my car and I'm going to abstain from putting petrol into it. I mean, we feed ourselves and then we just get on. So if you don't eat for 4 hours, 14 hours, 24 hours, 44 hours, you've used your food to do something, to drive you around, basically, to give you enough nutrients to do what you need to do. So I don't really like that. I like fed and the fed state, basically feeding and then the fed state. So you fill your car up with petrol and then you use the nutrients. That's it. I'm not sitting here going, oh, blimey, I haven't eaten for 9 hours. I'm fasted. I'm not even thinking that, or 12 hours or whatever it is. I think we need to stop looking at, the terminology and just get back to eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. That's it. That's it. But if you're going to get into like the therapeutic thing, we had a thing in our school community last night, by the way, we talked about cereal as well, but someone said, I want to get into the therapeutic level of ketosis for a tumor, right? Well, that's different. That's where you are looking to sort of biohack with a fair bit of data that, getting your glucose to ketone index to a certain level works. I mean, someone like Andrew Scarborough would get really into the weeds about that. But for the average person, it's got to be good, hasn't it? If you've got excess body fat, to not eat for a bit, that's got to be good for you.
Hey, fatty, stop fucking eating.
Yeah. But so the most beneficial is the one that works for you. I mean, that's the thing. It depends on your body composition, how much you've got to lose, what your situation is.
Love it. I personally, I've done 7 days wet fasted on 2 occasions, no problem. And on 3 or 4 occasions, I've managed 3.5 days dry fasted, and that is my limit. I cannot go past 3.5 days dry fasted. I'm one of those people that Stephen's talking about that does not have the fat on me to service that. I'm 5'6" or 168 centimeters and 62, 63 kilos or somewhere just under 140 pounds. Basically, that's what it is. So, after 3.5 days, I can't produce enough metabolic water because I've just got basically no fat sat on me. And I get dehydrated, my blood pressure goes through the roof, I get kidney pain, and it's like, right, time to stop. Others that have more body fat will probably be more successful. I mean, Pim has slightly more body fat than me. She's a woman for a start. And she can do 5, 6, 7 days dry, no problem. So, all I can do is basically back up exactly what Stephen's saying there. I think he's dead right. It depends on where you're coming from as to what's on board, because the whole idea of dry fasting is that you're producing a bunch of your own metabolic water from stored fat. And if you ain't got any, then you're in trouble. So there it is. Yeah. And by the way, you might have seen even recently a lot of like commentators that don't like me for some reason calling me Bart Dad Bod K. Again, let's just I don't know. People will come up with all sorts of crazy shit if they don't like you, won't they? They'll just make shit up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They're idiots. Oh, by the way, this is going out on my channel, so I'm going to say to my viewers, don't forget to subscribe to Bart's channel. Don't forget to do that.
Do that. Yeah.
Because your shouty, sweary days are less, aren't they? And you're being...
I've turned a corner a bit. I still use the odd short word, as you've heard me use today. I'm not talking about next Tuesday as much as I used to. I'm just using the F-bomb a bit. And I'm not using it in the way I was using it, where I was directing it at somebody a lot. Yes. I'm now just using it as punctuation, as we Antipodeans tend to do. Yes. It's more humorous, I think. It's less abrasive. It's less confronting. My style that I adopted 7 years ago, when I started doing this, was with malice aforethought, to have a point of difference, to have a hook to get people to watch and click and what's he going to say next. And it was great because it achieved that goal. But now the exact same thing becomes a bit of a handbrake, because a lot of people go, oh, that's a bit much. and that's not really what. So I've got, okay, so I just need to rein that in, wind my neck in a bit on that. So I have, and I'll continue to work on it. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a tough one because
someone pisses me off. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm reasonably polite and I don't swear online, but that doesn't mean I'm not wanting to, because some people are, frankly, they're idiots, and they present it as facts, and that's really frustrating. And other people just are so disingenuous. And you know, if you look at Mike the vegan, 5 years ago, he ripped apart Sean Baker's bloods, for instance, because he had low testosterone. Well, the guy's an idiot. Occasion. Yeah. Because you've only got to look at Sean Baker and think, and you know, I always say to people when we talk about bloods, imagine you were doing this for the first time on Earth, right? These were the bloods, first time you ever looked at them, and you didn't have all this other arbitrary stuff all around it. You would look at Sean Baker and go, well, that's the amount of testosterone you need, because look at that guy, he's breaking world records and he's got a lot of muscle, so it must be all right. It must be a good level. Now, he's such an idiot, he can't use his own eyes. He's so embedded. Now, I've used the word idiot about 3 times, but he's a malicious idiot. He knows what he's saying and how he's trying to manipulate. And then he makes all these ridiculous assumptions, which, you know, I'm going to do this, I think. I don't tend to do response videos. Go back to 6 years ago when he said, oh, look at his blood glucose. It's a bit high because he's an idiot. You know, Sean Baker trains. He's going to have slightly higher blood glucose, low insulin, more diffusion with the other 13 GLUT transporters. And it's like, you made this prediction. You're an idiot. Firstly, you don't even understand that even the Cochrane review of 103 studies, I hate studies, but let's use it, you know, looking at pre-diabetes, those people with pre-diabetes, they don't become diabetic because the numbers are crap. That's the thing. They're just ridiculous, arbitrary numbers. And he is a thick idiot who is malicious, right? So there you go, I've said it. But it makes me cross. So I don't understand why some people get...
Oh, look, I remember doing a response to Mike the Vegan, a couple of years ago, and he was talking about how we should just ignore all of these studies that were reporting that there was no real problem with red meat. Red meat wasn't a problem, that the association wasn't there. We should just ignore all of those things, he said, because conflict of interest, you see, and conflict of interest was bad. And he went out of his way to say it 4 or 5 or 6 times how bad conflict of interest was. And you know, therefore, this is why we should just ignore these idiots saying that red meat was fine. And then he said, and while we're at it, it's absolutely clear that LDL cholesterol is absolutely causal in heart disease. And he gave us the European Consensus Panel paper as his proof of that.
Yeah.
The one that has a 4.5 column statement about the conflict of interest in it. I'm like, you absolute fucking hypocrite, Michael.
Yes.
There you go. There's the F word again. And I'm using it, directing it at Michael the vegan, and quite rightly so, I think. Anyway, there it is. Eubank. Goodness, Eubank, you're late. Goodness, you're late. Report to Ted after class. You'll be on Juster's duty, and probably latrines as well, I should suggest, as well, Eubank. Goodness gracious. Coming late to class.
Is he related to the boxer?
No, but he's quite a good writer.
Oh, right.
I assume he's not related to the boxer. I don't know. Okay. His verbal boxing skills, though, and stuff, yes, right up to snuff. They are.
I'm very tempted to do my impression of Chris Eubank, but I won't actually.
Right. Yeah. Good to see you, John. Anyway, good to see you, even though you are late for class. And we're actually just about done, by the way. But no, it's really good to see you actually attending a live for once. How's my book coming along? By the way,
I thought it was commenting on a 1980s sitcom there. Hello.
Well,
good morning. And all that stuff.
John's helping me write my book, you see, Stephen. And
right, okay.
Well, it is a bit of like an 80s comedy, really, a sitcom.
I'm
sure.
When is it going to be out? Then your book?
When hell freezes over and it's written. Really? and when we've thrashed out the details and things. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, good. Well, you should write a book, I think. I mean,
well, he is.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. John has that all in hand. He's doing the putting what I would say down in words and writing. My medium, you see, is video and the spoken word and the double-barreled insults like cock trumpet and fuck lunch, stuff like that.
Yes.
And ass hat and things like that. and John's the wordsmith. Just the facts.
Good. Yes.
So that's the plan, I think.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
I look forward to
very
it
much.
Yeah. Right.
There's a question from Dana, by the way, about dry fasting.
Dana, where's your question? Just tell us what it is, because I can't find it. Where is it?
Dry fasting is equivalent to 3 days wet fasting.
There are some people that say it is in terms of autophagy and immune system reset and stem cell release and that kind of thing. And I've got no reason to doubt that that's true. It's not in terms of fat loss, I've found. But then I don't have any fat to lose. So,
yeah, it does seem to be, well, I suppose it's obvious, quicker to do stuff because you're getting the whoosh effect, aren't you? The water coming out of your fat cells. But
whoosh, yes, the whoosh.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the whoosh effect.
The whoosh effect. Good.
But I would say the 3 days thing is possibly an exaggeration, but you will get more out of dry fasting than wet fasting.
I don't know. I don't know how many times I've told people not to exaggerate. Billions of times, probably.
Yes.
I can't help myself. I'm here all week. Yeah. All right. Brilliant. Are we done? I think we're done. All right.
I think we're done. Yeah, we've dried out of questions.
Yes. We've done the dry fasting. We've dried out. It's all good. Oh, well, that being the case, join me next time when someone will be wrong on the interwebs, because it doesn't look like slowing down, does it? No. Bye-bye, nicely.
Funky.